In 1991, coalition planners needed thousands of bombs to destroy a single target. Then, precision guidance changed the math forever. Suddenly, one strike meant one result, and entire doctrines unraveled. When accuracy redefined force, defenders scrambled for answers, including Aegis, reshaping everything from naval warfare to air defense. But was this evolution truly an advantage, or did it set new traps no one could foresee? Laser-guided bombs first appeared over Vietnam, but it was in the Gulf War that their promise became reality. Coalition air planners, armed with precision-guided munitions, found that targets once requiring dozens of sorties could now be destroyed with a single strike. In 1991, the accuracy rate for guided bombs reached nearly 90%, compared to less than 1/3 for traditional weapons. The phrase, "one bomb, one target," was no longer a slogan. It was operational doctrine. This change was not just about hitting the bullseye. It was about using fewer aircraft, flying fewer risky missions, and achieving strategic effects with a fraction of the effort. Smaller warheads became possible, since accuracy replaced brute force. The average circular error probable, which is how far a bomb might land from its target, dropped below 10 meters. In 1999, during the Kosovo campaign, nearly 700 precision weapons struck almost 400 separate targets, approaching a 1-to-1 ratio. Urban damage fell sharply, and the political cost of air campaigns dropped with it. For air forces, this was economy of force in action. Instead of massing waves of bombers, planners could pick apart enemy networks with surgical precision. But defenders now faced a new problem. Old measures such as camouflage, dispersal, and hardened bunkers no longer guaranteed survival. The pressure to innovate defenses grew. Precision had handed attackers the initiative, and doctrine everywhere had to adapt. The age of mass attrition was giving way to an era where information and accuracy shaped the battlefield. In the aftermath of precision-guided attack, defenders needed a new answer to threats arriving faster and from farther away. In the 1970s, Rear Admiral Wayne Meyer's program office set out to build a system that could see, decide, and shoot in seconds, not minutes. The Aegis combat system fused the SPY-1 phased array radar with digital fire control, creating a single shipboard brain that could track over 100 targets at once. Where old systems struggled to keep up with massed missile attacks, Aegis processed everything in real time, linking sensors and shooters into one automated cycle. When USS Ticonderoga entered service in 1983, it became the first ship capable of managing layered air defense for an entire carrier group. The SPY-1 radar scanned the horizon without moving parts, feeding data to computers that prioritized threats, and queued standard missiles for instant launch. This networked approach turned cruisers and destroyers into mobile shields, able to protect not just themselves, but entire fleets, and later even cities ashore. The stakes of this new architecture became clear in 2008. During Operation Burnt Frost, USS Lake Erie received a unique order to intercept a failing spy satellite before it could crash to Earth. With less than a minute's warning, the Aegis system tracked the satellite at 17,000 miles per hour and launched an SM-3 interceptor, destroying the target at an altitude of 247 kilometers. The shot was more than a technical feat. It proved that Aegis could compress the decision cycle from detection to engagement into a single, seamless process. That same year, the Navy tested cooperative engagement capability, linking multiple ships' sensors into a unified network. For the first time, a missile could be fired by one ship using another ship's radar data. This fusion of sensors and shooters compressed reaction time to the limits of physics. It set the stage for a new era where only unmanned and persistent systems could hope to keep pace. Predator drones first took flight as unarmed scouts, circling above Afghanistan for hours on end, streaming live video back to ground stations half a world away. What set them apart was persistence, 24 hours aloft. immune to the fatigue and risk that limited human pilots. By 2001, this endurance met a new purpose. Engineers fitted the MQ-1 Predator with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, transforming the drone from an observer to a hunter. The first missile was fired in Afghanistan that fall, and within weeks, targeted strikes became routine. Operators in Nevada steered the drone by satellite link, watching for hours, then acting in seconds. This compressed the timeline from detection to strike, shrinking what once took days into a single, remote-controlled decision. The system's reach was global, its cost a fraction of traditional air power. Missions that once required squadrons could now be carried out by a small team at a console. The calculus of risk changed. No pilot was in harm's way, and no rescue mission was required if things went wrong. Persistence and precision merged, making it possible to track a target for days, then strike when the moment was right. In 2011, the drone campaign crossed a new legal and ethical threshold. The strike on Anwar al-Awlaki, a U.S. citizen in Yemen, triggered debate over executive authority and due process. As one official wrote, "We are crossing a Rubicon." For military planners, drones became not just a tool, but a doctrine, integrating intelligence, surveillance, and strike in a single, unblinking system. Bayraktar TB2 drones arrived on the Ukrainian battlefield in early 2022, not as expensive marvels, but as affordable, scalable tools. Within weeks, these Turkish-built aircraft destroyed more than 100 Russian vehicles, including tanks, artillery, and supply trucks, disrupting armored columns and supply lines that once moved with impunity. The TB2's camera streamed real-time targeting data to Ukrainian artillery and infantry, turning every operator into a force multiplier. Unlike earlier drones, the TB2's value came from its accessibility. With a unit cost measured in millions, not tens of millions, Ukraine could field dozens at once, sustaining losses that would have grounded more expensive fleets. This democratization of air power forced Russian commanders to scatter their forces, hide under camouflage nets, and rethink logistics. Air defense units, designed for high-flying jets and cruise missiles, now had to hunt small, slow-moving drones that appeared anywhere, anytime. Behind the TB2's rapid fielding was Baykar's iterative engineering culture, led by Selçuk Bayraktar. Instead of waiting for government contracts or navigating slow procurement cycles, Bayraktar and his team built and tested prototypes in small workshops, refining designs through constant feedback from the field. This approach delivered a system that was simple to operate, easy to repair, and quick to adapt. The result was a battlefield tool that gave smaller militaries options once reserved for superpowers, proving that disruptive capability could come from ingenuity as much as from budget. The scale and speed of TB2 strikes in Ukraine set a new standard for unmanned warfare, one that adversaries are now racing to counter, not just with missiles, but with electronic warfare and cyber tools. In eastern Ukraine, a simple Android app promised to help artillery units coordinate fire missions. Instead, it handed Russian forces a digital targeting grid. The app, seeded with GRU malware, quietly transmitted the GPS locations of Ukrainian D-30 howitzers back to Russian command. Within weeks, dozens of these guns were destroyed by precise counter-battery fire. Field commanders, accustomed to camouflage and movement, now faced a threat that arrived not from the sky, but through their own devices. The phrase "making rounds" among officers was blunt. When bits become bullets, every click can cost lives. This incident revealed a new vulnerability. Unsecured networks can turn information into a weapon. The digital domain had become as lethal as the physical battlefield, exposing entire units with a single compromised app. For military planners, the lesson was immediate. Every networked advantage carries a hidden risk, and resilience in the field now means defending both hardware and data. A convoy rolls across the desert, each truck tagged with an RFID chip, its location and cargo updated in real time. At the operations hub, a logistics officer watches a digital dashboard track every pallet and every spare part with the precision of a financial ledger. This is not theory. This is the backbone of modern military endurance. During the Gulf War, automation cut supply delays by 70%, as millions of meals and gallons of fuel moved through a system that could spot a missing crate before it left the depot. Predictive maintenance algorithms now flag engine parts for replacement before breakdowns strand vehicles. In recent years, the U.S. Army Leader Follower program has logged hundreds of autonomous miles, with lead trucks guiding unmanned followers through test ranges and live fire zones. By 2025, autonomous resupply trials aim to push this further, promising convoys that can run for days without a human behind every wheel. In long wars, it is the side that keeps its weapons fueled and its troops supplied that endures. Automation and real-time tracking have become as decisive as any new missile or drone, closing the loop between the front line and the factory floor. Persistence and reliability now shape strategic advantage. Modern conflict unfolds at machine speed, with decisions shaped by data, not just firepower. As systems grow more autonomous and networks define the battlefield, the line between advantage and vulnerability narrows. In this era, adaptation isn't optional, it is survival. What matters now is how we choose to respond.